Hey guys, we're in the midst of Legends Arceus fever, and today we're going to be ranking every new Hisuian form from worst to best, which of course is just the actual Hisuian forms. We're not including evolutions here, like Basculegion or Cleaver. Now, it's been only a week, so I'm not still completely convinced about placements 100% on this list, but I am confident enough to give my take here that could change at some point down the line. There are about a dozen Pokemon to rank in this video, looking at how strong they are, when they're obtained in-game, and how they can actually help you in a playthrough. There are so many different factors that go into making a Pokemon good in this game. I really hope I can hit on everything. I don't want to hold it up any longer though, so let's just hop into the ranking and see if we can get things down properly. We get started here with what I consider to be, from a completely unbiased standpoint, the worst Hisuian form, Electrode. It and Voltorb are already not really my favorite electric types, and slapping the grass typing on them didn't make too much of a difference. It's got the same base stats as the regular Cantonian Electrode, meaning it is fast with pretty much no offensive qualities to speak of. You've got to wait quite a while to get Electrode too, since you have to get Voltorb to get it, and naturally, you're not going to find one of those until you're in the Coronet Highlands. When you have it, there are basic grass and electric moves you can use, like Chloroblast and Thunderbolt, but it's such a lack in coverage and power that I just can't like Electrode than any other Hisuian forms. Sorry fans of this thing, it's a fun little design and an interesting regional variant for sure, but that isn't really enough to make a case for this little ball to be anything but the worst. So this is one of two Pokemon that is a Hisuian form that evolves into a new Pokemon altogether. So here's the deal, we're going to talk about Quillfish. As is pretty well known at this point, Overquill is a brand new evolution for this regional variant, and it's pretty cool. You'll get to hear my thoughts on it in a future video. But for now, we're going to focus solely on Quillfish. So, Quillfish has the same stats as its Johtonian counterpart, which was a pretty solid Pokemon to begin with, especially for one that didn't evolve. Though we know now that things have changed in that regard, it does take a few points away from the thought of just using Quillfish. It's about halfway into your playthrough, perhaps a little later, that you can actually capture this thing. You need Basculegion to surf around and find one, so you will be waiting a little bit. I'm not really impressed by the move Barb Barrage, and there is a distinct lack of physical dark type moves as far as I can see. I would go as far as to say Quillfish is a little bit of a disappointment considering the dark poison typing. If we take Overquill into things, perhaps things would go a little different for Quillfish today, but I'm not too sure. Let's just move on. We follow up Quillfish with the other Hisuian form that can evolve, Sneasel. This is a pretty similar deal, so I'll keep things brief. Sneasel has the same stat layout regardless of form, and it's fighting poison typing. While cool, it is merely a little bit better than its dark ice typing when we look at things from a defensive view. Dire Claw is a pretty solid move, and a combo of Drain Punch and Close Combat is nice when we roll in the stab. But there is a distinct lack of helpful coverage outside of X-Scissor for Psychic types. Plus, just like with Quillfish, Sneasel is something you can get later in your playthrough. Much later, as a matter of fact. That, combined with a true lack of coverage, and then the fact that it can evolve, leaves Sneasel behind the pack when it comes to Hisuian forms. Now we can get into only fully evolved Pokemon for the rest of the video. And this one is a disappointment to put here in this position. I really like Hisuian Zoroark. I even told people they should use one when they play the game. The issue with Pokemon is that getting Zorora comes way too late in the game. Like, super late. You have to wait until the Alabaster Icelands, and there's like one that walks around in Bone Chill Wastes. It's an absolute chore to get. And then, think, it's so very late in the game. There's a pretty good chance by that point, you've got the 6 Pokemon you want to use already, and there just isn't room for Zoroark. If you did wait that long though, you'd have a special attacking, speedy Ghost Normal type. It's got a nice typing, and Bitter Malice is a really interesting move. But getting Zoroark so late is just a big turnoff when it comes to this ranking. I obviously made some room for it and used it pretty late, but I know that's not what everyone wants to do. It's got some decent coverage with Flamethrower and Sludge Bomb, but it's got nothing for dark types. It sucks when you can't cover your one weakness. So of course, I'd hold that a little against the Baneful Fox. It's a shame, but when you take everything into account, Zoroark is on the worst half of this list. I like it a lot though, and that certainly won't change. Next up, we're gonna talk about Brachiary, the first Hisuian form that was revealed long ago during the build-up to Legends Arceus. It's a really cool Pokemon, going from normal flying to psychic flying, with a huge switch up in stats. It gets a massive boost in special attack and a slight bump in HP, while all of its other stats go down. I wouldn't say this is a great change though, as the special attack boost doesn't even make Brachiary as strong as its Univan form is on the physical end. However, thankfully, there is a lot of special coverage alongside two powerful stab moves, being Hurricane and Esper Wing. Mystical Fire and Dazzling Gleam are very nice as well, but here's one big problem. There isn't any actual way to stop rock types, which would most certainly clip this bird's wings. Plus, once again, you're going to be waiting a long while for Rufflet. It's not available until the Alabaster Icelands. If you do choose to wait until then to finally add this to your team, if for some reason you have a spot left, it's honestly a better choice than Zoroark from an attacking standpoint. It's really not that bad, it's just circumstance put it behind the next few Pokemon. Let's just nail out all the Hisuian forms you get in the snowy area of Hisui. We'll talk about Avalugg now. There may as well be no difference between the Typhlosion and Hisuian forms aside from their typings, because this Avalugg is basically the same deal. It's a defensive juggernaut physically, though I suppose it's just a touch stronger. Its rock-steel typing leave it majorly weak to fighting types, but considering it has the defenses it does, it might be able to take some hits well from the predominantly physical typing. It's got some interesting moves in its pool, including Mountain Gale and Stone Edge. Its only issue is, you guessed it, there isn't as much coverage as you'd like to see. I think it's probably the best of the three, considering, for one, how easy it is to get. You just gotta get Bergmite to level 37, and that's it. However, its defensive properties could really help you out in some battles, and of course, when trying to catch the errant alpha Pokemon that roam the region. This marks the end of the first half of this ranking though, as the next 6 Pokemon are really the best of the group when it comes to these new forms. So next up was a Hisuian form that definitely surprised me when I played the game, Liligant. I definitely wasn't expecting to see this lady, but was for sure pleased when I did. You can find Petlil walking around in the Crimson Highlands, and with the Sunstone, you get the Liligant. So it's relatively simple. It's a fun-looking Pokemon with a great grass fighting type. You know, Hisui really liked giving its new Pokemon in forms typings like Ghost, Poison, Dark, and Fighting. I don't know what it is about those typings and a few others that scream a long time ago, but they just sort of do. Liligant has better speed in this Hisuian form and a decent physical attack stat, leaving it to use moves like Close Combat and Leaf Blade to major success. It can defend itself from fairy types with Poison Jab, but sadly it lacks any sort of check for flying types. It held back an otherwise great Pokemon like Liligant from being in the top 5 best Hisuian forms. But it's still a fun one to fill in your team with. Arcanine comes up next as another very good Hisuian form, and definitely one of my favorites. Honestly, I like a lot of the Pokemon introduced in this game, but that's notwithstanding. Hisuian Growlithe is found in the Cobalt Coastlands, doing dog stuff and being adorable. You can catch it and give it a Firestone and you get Arcanine. So despite the fact that it's obtained like halfway into things, I'm sure there is still room on most teams for a rock-fire type like this. There is effectively no difference between the Cantonian and Hisuian forms of Arcanine stat-wise, with just a few changes among the speed and attack stat. It's nothing too game-changing, but the move pool on this thing is where it shines. It has a great new signature move being Raging Fury, which isn't the most accurate move in the world, but that's all good. It's got Rock Slide, Thunderfang, Iron Head, and Play Rough, as well as quite a few other moves. It's a coverage machine, and that really helped me decide to put it here. It's just super worth using in a playthrough. Really, it's only behind because a few of the next few Pokemon have a lot of utility for a lot longer. Alright folks, sit back and relax, because we have some starter Pokemon to go through. We'll start with Typhlosion, my choice of starter in this region. Its Hisuian form is pretty dope, with the ghost typing coming in and a boost to the special attack. It's a great Pokemon, like seriously, all the starters are, but I love Typhlosion the most. Its new signature move, Infernal Parade, just might be the coolest name a move has ever gotten. Its other moves include Flamethrower and Shadow Ball, and a large pool of physical attacks. I will admit that perhaps I'm showing a little bit of nepotism here, as I would normally hold the lack of coverage against Typhlosion, but it's just so good, and as a building block of your team, you can easily capture whatever is necessary to cover what it can't. It just looks so cool when it's out in battle, man. I'll move on because I'm just gushing at this point about it. So, the top 3 best Hisuian forms start off with Decidueye, which has one of the coolest color palette changes for a regional variant ever. I mean, seriously, look at this thing. It's just super cool, though its offensive abilities are even cooler. It's now a grass fighting type, with more attack and slightly better bulk. Decidueye turns to moves like Leaf Blade and Brave Bird for leveling up. But perhaps the most interesting move of all is the new signature move it has to work with, Triple Arrows. It's only 50 base power, but it lowers the target's defense and gives you a critical hit boost for future moves. Who doesn't like the sound of that? It has some interesting coverage in its pull between Shadow Claw, Psycho Cut, and Spikes. It can even be set up with Bulk Up. There is so much to like with Decidueye, and much like Typhlosion, you can't go wrong in picking it. Though, as you're probably expecting, only one can truly be the best of the group, even if it isn't by too much. The best starter is Samurott, and it's also the second best Hisuian form introduced in this game. Samurott didn't end up becoming a fighting type like so many people always thought it should be, but the water-dark typing is pretty damn good in its place. Its stats now make it out to be a good deal faster than it was, and definitely more of a physical attacker. I know I was really talking up Typhlosion's Infernal Parade earlier, but dude, Samurott has got ceaseless edge. Who at Game Freak was coming up with these names? They're absolute bangers, even if they are a little bit edgy too. No pun intended. It's also got Night Slash and Aqua Tail for stab, which makes it all the better out there in battle. As for coverage, there's a ton we're talking. Mega Horn, Poison Jab, Psycho Cut, and Iron Tail. That's definitely a better lineup than its contemporaries. And it can even set up with Swords Dance. That sort of sells to me the fact that Samurott truly is the best starter for Legends Arceus. I might love Typhlosion the most, but I won't deny that Samurott is the best of the 3. Finally, we have reached the best Hisuian form. And if you've been keeping score throughout the video, you'd already know what we have here. It's the Hisuian Gudra. This thing is so friggin' cool, folks. Just take a look at it. It's even cooler if you have an alpha version of it. It's like a creature you'd see in a Godzilla film. I always thought Gudra was missing something, and I guess it was this sort of shell. You can find Gumi in the Crimson Mirelands, which is thankfully not late at all, and you'll just need to train and train until you go from Hisuian Sligo to Gudra. It's a bit slower, but that makes sense considering it gained the Steel typing. Its attack stats and defenses are just so good though. It was just obvious that Gudra got the best treatment across the board. Shelter is a really cool defensive signature move, and its offensive moves, ranging from Dragon Pulse to Iron Head to Rock Slide, are just the bee's knees. I'm open to some discussion in the comments about this one being ahead of Samurott, but it just made a ton of sense. Alright folks, that is it. We've gone through all the Hisuian forms that Arceus introduced, and I think this list is mostly structurally sound. I'm down for a dialogue in the comments, because this game is still so fresh for me, and perhaps different perspectives from you guys could change the way I see things. Let me know what you guys think, and share with me your personal favorite Hisuian form. Keep it locked into the channel for tons of Legends Arceus content this February. Hey guys, Thank you for enjoying another Mystic Umbreon video. It's exciting times for the Pokemon franchise, and I look forward to the coming months where it just keeps getting better. If you guys are wanting some more bite-sized Mystic Umbreon content, please check out my TikTok, where I upload daily, as well as the Mystic Umbreon Shorts channel. If y'all enjoyed the video and want to see more content like this, be sure to leave a like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Be sure to leave a comment too. It really helps us out. I think it's time to wrap this up though. I'm Mystic Umbreon, and I'll see you next time with some more amazing Pokemon content.